The topics for this video are the angle of elevation and angle of depression. An angle of elevation can be described as the angle that someone has to look up from the horizontal to see an object. The angle of depression can vice versa be the angle that someone would have to look down to see an object. For example, on this drawing right here, you have an observer at the top of the building and an observer on the ground. They are looking at each other. All right. So what is the line of sight? The line of sight is their path of vision that they're looking at each other. So that's their line of sight. So that would be line RT. What is the angle of elevation? The angle of elevation is the angle that you have to look up. So it would be this angle right here. This person has to look up. So that would be angle SRT. An angle of depression is the angle that someone is going to be looking down. So here's the observer at the top of the building. To go down, you look at this angle right here. Right, so that would be angle UTR. UTR. There you go. All right, here's an example problem. The angle of elevation from point A to the top of the cliff is 34 degrees. If point A is 1,000 feet from the base of the cliff, how high is the cliff? So we need to draw us a right triangle. The angle of elevation from point A to the top of the cliff, so here's our cliff over here. There's point A. The angle of elevation, angle going up, is 34 degrees. If point A is 1,000 feet from the base of the cliff and down here, so that means this distance is 1,000 feet. How high is the cliff? We'll call that x. So now we'll use our trig function rules. Right? Our angle here is 34 degrees. And so the height of the cliff is going to be the opposite leg of this right triangle. And the 1,000 feet distance here is going to be the adjacent leg of our triangle. So opposite and adjacent, going by the SOHCAHTOA rules, tells me to use tangent. So my equation is going to be the tangent 34 degrees then equal to the opposite amount, x, over the adjacent amount, which is 1,000. Now multiplying each side by 1,000 gives me the 1,000 times the tangent of 34 is equal to x. So now I just type that into my calculator and make sure I'm in degree mode. I am. So 1,000 tangent of 34 is 674.5 feet. 674.5 feet is approximately x. Next example. The angle of depression from the top of the 80-foot building to point A on the ground is 42 degrees. So let's draw us a building here. And it's an 80-foot building. Here's our angle. Point A on the ground. The angle of depression is 42 degrees. So that does not mean that this angle is 42 degrees. It means the angle from the horizontal is 42 degrees. So if the person were looking straight forward, the angle they have to look down at is 42 degrees. Okay? So how far is the foot of the building from point A? Where's the building point A? We're looking for this amount right here. Okay, this horizontal and vertical line make a right angle. So 90 minus 42 gives me 48. So this angle is 48 degrees. So using the 48 degrees, the x here is the opposite leg, and the 80 is adjacent. Opposite and adjacent again tells me to use tangent. So the tangent of 48 degrees is going to be equal to x over 80. Multiplying each side by 80 gives me 80 tangent of 48 degrees equals x. And to figure out what x is approximately, we're going to type that in the calculator. 80 times tangent of 48 is 88.85. 88.85 feet is approximately x. One more example. Ladder leaning against the building makes an angle of 78 degrees with the ground. Alright, so let's draw us a building. I'm going to draw us a ladder now. So the ladder coming down. Here's the ladder. Here's the ground meeting the ladder. So ladder leaning is going to make an 80 to 78 degree angle with the ground. Here's the ground, here's the ladder. So that angle is 78 degrees. The ground and the ladder make 78 degree angle. The foot of the ladder is 5 feet from the building. So this distance is 5 feet. How long is the ladder? Well, our angle is here, so that tells me that 5 is going to be the adjacent leg, and x is going to be the hypotenuse. So adjacent and hypotenuse tells me to use the cosine trig function. So the cosine of 78 degrees will be equal to the adjacent leg, which is 5 feet long, of the hypotenuse, which is x. Now these, when the variable is in the denominator, first thing you do is multiply each side of the equation by that variable. So we're going to take multiply both sides by x. And so this gives me x times cosine of 78 degrees equals, and over here the x's will cancel out, so this equals 5. Now I need to solve for x. I have x times cosine of 78. So the inverse operation of multiplying by cosine of 78 is dividing by the cosine of 78 degrees at both sides of the equation. Cosines of 78 will cancel out there. And now I'm just going to type in my graphing calculator, 5 divided by cosine of 78. 5 divided by cosine of 78. 24.05. So x is approximately 24. Approximately 24.05